and good evening. I'm Melisa, Idris.
And I'm Sharaad, Kuttan.
Welcome to Consider This, the show where we want you to consider and then reconsider what you know of the news of the day. Let's begin with some good news, shall we? The number of COVID-19 recoveries today exceeded the number of new cases. Some 168 recoveries in the past 24 hours. That's compared to the 134 new COVID cases today. The total number of cases is currently at 4,817 cases, which is lower than JP Morgan's prediction that Malaysia would see a peak of 6,300 cases on April the 14th, which is tomorrow. So perhaps we're on the right track, according to the Ministry of Health. Now, in other news, the government has decided against allowing barbers, beauty salons and op-tometrists to operate during the rest of the MCO. Now, following last Friday's announcement, groups representing hairdressers had spoken out, saying that social distancing could not be maintained in a hair salon. According to Defence Minister Datuk Sri Ismail Sabri Yaakob, the Prime Minister had decided against allowing these services to operate during the MCO period, and this was after the government listened to the public, to experts and also to NGOs. Now, this is a responsive move, but could they have avoided all this by leaving barbers off the list in the first place, Sharaad?
Yes, perhaps if, they'd done the stakeholder consultation. We're not actually certain at this point in time how much stakeholder consultation there was. Clearly, when it comes to a lot of the SMEs, those in manufacturing, that they had made representations to the government, in the run-up to this new stage of the MCO and in sort of turning on the valves of the economy slowly back on. But it's not clear why barbers or beauty salons were included. What was interesting is that pushback was coming from those stakeholders themselves who thought they just could not, in fact, live up to the expectations of the public health concerns.
Yeah, I think, it's understandable that perhaps policy making the time of COVID, we have to make allowances for, for perhaps U-turns or discrepancies in judgment. However, the idea is to include all of government into this. So not just, even though it's an economic decision, perhaps also including the Ministry of Health in the decisions, perhaps including other parts of government, also very important when it comes to policy making at this time.
Yeah, it does, because these are extraordinary times, Melissa, and, getting a meeting together or putting a meeting together might not be as simple as it used to be, though a phone call, I guess, is...
Or a video call now, right?
As they say, really many stakeholders are just a phone call away. I think, of course, like you said, there must be room for government to tweak its decisions, and I'm not entirely sure whether it's fair to pounce on the government at this point in time for these kinds of turnarounds. Right.
Very quickly, let's turn our attention now to the recent appointments of politicians to head government agencies. Yesterday, past Secretary General and de facto Law Minister Datuk Taqiyuddin Hassan said that all MPs who do not presently hold positions in government will be made head of GLCs. Now, PAS has 18 MPs. 8 are ministers and deputy ministers, and 1 has been made the Prime Minister's special envoy to the Middle East. Now, that leaves 9 more MPs. Will they all be made heads of GLCs? And is this seen as a system of rewarding MPs?
Yeah, Melissa, this news is in the kind of the background of the attention that's been given to the COVID crisis. Governance issues, perhaps not central to the focus. It was during the Pakatan Harapan time. Pakatan Harapan, of course, not exemplary in many ways. There were many instances where Pakatan itself didn't live up to its own standards. It didn't live up to its promises. But at that point in time, remember, there was something that they claimed to stand up for in terms of values, in terms of governance principles. So the issue is, have we turned back the clock so dramatically that we are returning to a system where that these positions are given out essentially as sinecures or as rewards rather than given to people for their competence.
Yeah, that's for sure. That's what former Minister Rafida Aziz is saying, that we're in fact in reverse gear, and G25 has called for the government to ensure that political appointees meet the fit and proper criteria to lead this GLC. So whether they are, in fact, the right people to lead these companies.
One argument, Melisa, that is being made is that the previous batch of were also political appointees. And so as a consequence, they should have stepped out. But perhaps that really isn't the issue. It's not about whether you're a political, non-political entity. Really, that is partly a process issue. Right. It's really about what the purpose of your appointment is. Is it because you're a better person to lead it? Was the previous person not competent? What is your agenda? And more importantly, are institutions now reformed sufficiently that they have integrity, that they could, in fact, take on individuals with that concern about their background, that they, in fact, the institutions have the resilience,
are strong enough to withstand any kind of
anybody's attempt to subordinate those institutions for personal and political gain. Now, that is the real issue.
That's something that we're going to have to keep a close eye on. Now, we're going to take a quick break, but after this, we're going to speak to experts about being mentally prepared for the new normal of living with COVID-19. Stay tuned.